Hello and welcome to this edition of the OGI. My name is Aminata E. Sanyang and I am your host for this program. On this edition, we will engage the governor of the Upper River region to discuss on the current events and, of course, the most pressing issues facing the region. We will take a short break. When we return, Governor will join us on this platform. Welcome back to the OGI. I am Aminata E. Sanyang. You can follow us online on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram on GRTS-TV Official. All right, we're joined right here by the governor of the Upper River region, Mr. Samba Bah. Governor, thank you very much for joining us and welcome to the OGI.
Thank you very much, Aminata, for having me.
All right, and let's start. My first question is, you've presided over the TAG meeting. Tell us, how important is this engagement for you and the team?
Thank you very much, Aminata. And just like you said, we've just concluded a convergence that was related to TAG activities in the quarterly, this last quarter. And then knowing the fact that the TAG is constituted by an act of parliament, so it is our responsibility in making sure that we fulfill what is being assigned to us. And as a result, every quarter, all the government institutions and even the non-governmental institutions have to gather together and then present on the last activities that they have carried out, rather. Knowing the fact also that because sometimes people don't understand what is the role and functions of a governor at the regional level. Because one of the functions of the governor at the regional level is to make sure that we monitor and coordinate all activities that are taking place in the region. And in doing that, we go out on monitoring. After monitoring, you come again, assign the TAG members also to present so that now you can correlate and see what is happening. Whether what you have seen in the field or in their offices and what they are reporting is definitely collaborating. So that is what we have just concluded. And then all the TAG presented, and thanks to the Public Service Ministry under the Directorate of Strategic Planning and Delivery, and also sponsored by the UNDP. We've just concluded it, and definitely it was very, 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 very effective and interactive, where after the TAG presenting, we now compile all the reports and now call for accountability. And the accountability there is we have to be responsible to it. Because the reason why we are posted in Upper River region is not for our bosses, it's for us to implement government programs and policies in our respective regions in order to improve the lives and livelihood of the people that we serve. And as a result, what we did was we had what we call a convergent now. That is the duty bearers and the right owners. And that was what we did yesterday. And I think it was very, 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 to me, I wish like every quarterly meeting we have such, because this is where it's going to bring government closer to the people, particularly in rural Gambia. They also feel that now, yes, government is very close to us and we know the ins and outs of government, what they are doing, where they progress, and what are some of the shortcomings. Now, some of these shortcomings that we may even have in our work, if the communities know our shortcomings, they will be able to intervene. So basically, that was what just happened these last 3 days.
So we have representatives from various districts and, of course, stakeholders, like you mentioned. What were the main issues discussed?
The main issues here discussed was, I know, health range of issues were discussed, but principally, when you look at it in every country and in every region, you have those that stands out. And that is, for example, agriculture. You know, because when you look at it, the rural Gambia, the societies are agrarians. So as a result, you know, they are always concentrated in what we call agriculture, and their passion and their walk of life and everything that they do is connected to agriculture. That was one of the things that stands out. And then the other thing also in our discussion that was definitely looked at is education, because you have to understand now education is everybody's business, and as a result also it is part of the basic human rights that people need to have. And this was also something that people were elaborated on based on what we call the achievements and also the successes. And to add on also, health was also another issue, key issue that was also discussed. But again, where we had a lot of issues coming on, and we need to improve on that a lot, was on the side of forestry, the environment, which I think they talk about it, and I definitely agree with them. We need to do more as far as the environment is concerned, both on the sanitary aspect of the environment by making it clean, and also trying to protect also our forests from bushfires and also illegal logging, because these are issues that the people raise. And then definitely I noted it down, and it is a concern. Even myself and my office, it is a concern, because when I go out, these are some of the things that I have seen, and now the committees also have corroborated my story. So meaning that we need to adjust and do more. And that was why those who were at the meeting, they saw me. I was not defensive at all, because I was able to listen to the people keenly, because they are the ones who are able to assess us. Because, you know, I always say, in a democratization process, you have to listen to the people. And listening to the people meaning your problem half solved. Failing to listen to people, what is going to create is you are making people to cook stories for themselves, so that when they bring the stories out, then the duty bearers will be able to come and correct. That's the time info, and we should not allow that thing to happen. What should happen is we bring people closer to us, and we also get to the people in the villages, in the SARS. Because for example, I will tell you, Aminata, like, look at what you call Bolibanna. Bolibanna has been struggling with what we call, they have a school, but they have been struggling with what you call education. The facilities were not there. But today, if I should tell you, you go to Bolibanna, the last village of my region is having a story building where children have to climb up and down, meaning those children now will not feel that difference between them and the people in the urban areas. So this is what we need. And then, you know, we have to make sure that we listen to them, and then so many things were done. And in fact, thank God, some of them were addressed instantly. I have to take what we call measures in the presence of the people to tell them that, look, Director X, Y, and Z, this has to be fixed now against this party. Because these are things that we need not to even transmit to Banjul. These are things that we can do within the region.
Very well. You highlighted something very important, that is listening to the people. This particular convergence provides you and the leaders in your region the opportunity to interact with the ordinary person, and of course to address some of the issues affecting them. Were these leaders participating very well, and were they listening to these concerns? Yeah,
you know, anything that you do before, in fact, the activity proper, before the convergence with the community, we had a very frank what we call discussion, even at the TAC meeting. And there, we were able to, at least all of us, come to terms to say bringing these communities closer to us is trying to solve some of our problems. Because sometimes, you know, we have to understand, as heads of institutions, we also have people that work under us. And those that are working under us, some of them are not in our immediate offices, some of them are in the communities. Are they doing well in what they are doing? Whether their line of reporting, what they are reporting to you, is it the right thing or not the right thing? That's why I told them, we have to, one, listen to the communities and see. And anything that we believe, definitely it is something that what they are doing, is saying, is something that is the right thing, we have to make sure that we work very hard to address. I know very well that some of the things that we cannot address at regional level, some of them are policies, that it has to go to what you call the policy makers for them to make sure that it is being done. But there are certain things, there are things that is at regional level. Like, for example, somebody talked about the cleanliness of the hospitals yesterday. And let me give you one example. In that, I was able to go on a tour, and I visited almost half of the health facilities that we have. But to my surprise, the health facility that is in Koina proved to be the best. And just imagine, if somebody wonders, where is Koina? Look at where, meaning the in charge in Koina, and at the same time, the nurses also in Koina are bringing the communities of Koina very close to them. And as a result, the community now is taking responsibility in making sure that the environment is clean. So, you know, when you involve people in what you are doing, it means that they take ownership. And now you, the one, you just try to implement what you're supposed to do. But in the other side of it, what you cannot do, the communities will be able to do it. So there was no way or no problem in my heads of institution not to participate and then make sure that at least their problems are. It's a matter of must. We have to do it because this is why we are posted and we choose to come to URR.
I mean, during the conversation or the engagement, I witnessed a moment when a young leader asked a question and raised a concern along, and a leader of a particular institution was defensive. How do you address some of these issues? Because you were there.
I think if you can also recall when it happened, in fact, it was a student, in fact, of a school. And what happened was I motivated the student by even telling him that with your mindset right now, I believe you can be a very good potential leader tomorrow. That because like I don't want him to leave that hall, being embarrassed. So and then honestly, to be frank, what he observed and what he said there is the right thing. Because if you are giving us an advice as to a particular situation, I think what you should have done, and that was my response, that we are going to look into it, and I've given directives to say by Wednesday I want to get the results of that particular area. So this is it, because sometimes we should not be too defensive, because you are defensive but you know what you are defending is not the truth. It's not what is happening. So we have to be, that is where we have to take up responsibility. Because responsibility is not only to be defensive, but also trying to accept that this is wrong and we will try to fix it. Because that's why we are here. Because if we were not here, it would have been difficult to fix certain situations, because government is an institution. And because it is an institution, it has what we call functionaries. And those functionaries, it is the people that they will appoint to go and do those functionaries. And that is why URR TAC is created. So as a result, definitely we should be answerable to the people. And we should not in any way dodge questions that that we can answer. And even if we cannot answer, answer them in such a way that the person who asks questions definitely will respect you in the long run. We'll know, yes, you cannot answer this, but you said you are going to supply me with the answer in the soonest possible time. I agree with you completely.
So, Governor, we had a tete-a-tete with some of the people that attended the engagement yesterday. And let's look at some of the issues raised and the concerns, especially from the people in the disability community, which includes various structures in your region failing to provide wheelchair ramps that will help them navigate these places. And I'm not sure I even found one on your premises here. Also, they mentioned about being left out when it comes to organizations or committees, being inclusive, involving them in various engagements.
For disabled. Mampare fulan jam fana niya dibe ko yo hamo populi jama ata dulad haninta niya de mbesel la jam ninta wasel la medila nyaka minin ninta boyata non yel selo yemut go fono mbani sa so di lela eta ta mini regionot adu yeni polomiso di mo la ko ipera mo kale la bundal adu nite akaje mo doli ba akaje adu yemo ma ko era mo ekene.
How are you going to address this?
I think we've started even addressing it. I'm sure we started addressing some of those problems. With regards to the ramps, you're quite right, and they are also right at some point. But I think we've also done something. Because when I came in 2020 as a governor, though I was here in 2018 as deputy governor, there was nothing like a ramp in the whole of the governor's premises. But when I was constructing my Bantaba, where we normally have meetings, and these are convergence, I am the one who was able to erect what we call a ramp for them, both inside the Bantaba to grace occasions at the stage, and also when you are entering. But when you come to the office level, the office is in such a way, even if you provide them with a ramp, it's still risky because of the height of the office. And as a result, what I told them is we have now started constructing an office space and also a new governor's residence, where we have factored in to say, even because the other one is going to be a story building, let them even have a space where somebody can have the chance to get up as far as what we go. We have a lifter or whatsoever, so that they can also be incorporated. But the other thing that I always do is, even if they want to see me, it is the governor who normally leaves his office to go and see them. That shows how concerned I am as far as they are concerned. If you cannot enter my office, then it is good for me to leave my office to go and see you in a place where we can all sit and then we do this. And again, the other thing that they raised yesterday was, when you looked at it, is with regards to the TAC. They made mention to say that they are not part of the TAC. But again, we have to understand, not every CBO can also be part of the TAC. If that happens, I think the TAC is now going to be, in fact, it's going to outnumber even the number of CBOs.
But looking at the disability community, not involving them sends a signal of discrimination.
No, you see, I think, you know, sometimes also they oversee things. Because let me tell you, the Office of the Governor and Area Council has done a lot for the disability in this place. There is no program that they have, and we receive invitations, we don't honor it. Because for me, I always say this, even if it is 3 or 4 people who invited me, and I think the invitation given to me, the program is useful, I don't look at the numbers. I don't look at somebody's eyes. I always look at the importance and also the benefit that that meeting is going to yield if the governors attend or any other stakeholder attend. Well, sometimes, you know, when you are also on the other side of the people, you always tend to see as if you are marginalized. And sometimes that is the reality, because there are things that you cannot do for yourself, so you always want people to do. And then it is not also you are always that you are the only one that somebody also can consult. But be rest assured, we are more than willing to in partnering with them. Even yesterday, when they talk about the fencing of their office, you know, I have started even trying to put plans to see, before the end of this year, coming to mid next year, we also see how best we can at least mobilize funds for them so that we are able to secure. Because even if you provide them with laptops, you provide them with office equipment, if the place is not secured, at the end of the day, somebody can just go there and then tamper with some of these activities. I quite agree with them, but it's a matter of time. Anything that you see is gradual. Because these were things that were not happening before. And today you are happening. You see, even yesterday, when they talked about it, I felt it so much that I have to instruct my tax secretary and say, put their president in the TAC, so that now we will be able to know their activities. They will participate in our activities, and so any activity also that we are doing, we now incorporate them. Now look at it, you know, of yesterday's what we call meeting. They were there. You know, at some cases, people will tell you they were never invited to meetings. But now we are inviting them to meet because we feel that they are part of us, and they are, you know, they can be productive in the society. You know, being disabled doesn't mean that, you know, your mind or whatsoever cannot be utilized, because they can still think for themselves. So that is it. We will improve on that, but I think giant step also has been taken in trying to address some of their problems.
So, Governor, irregular migration hits the entire country, but the Upper River region, I would say, hits it even more. Yesterday we spoke to young people and they highlighted this, that there are lots of young people from the Upper River region who are embarking on this journey. Right. What are your plans in addressing this issue?
I think we have done a lot. You see, some of these things that they're talking about, it's true, people are going. But also now it depends on the person going, how he sees things. Because perhaps if opportunities are given, but you don't want those opportunities, you think that you can just get rich overnight and you decided to choose the other way, we don't have the means to stop you. And these are things that are happening. Wallahi, I know very well, since I assumed office, the number of trainings that young people have, and also startup kits that they were given. And today, if I should tell you, some of the startup kits that they were given, some of them even have sold them. Some have strived very, very, very hard today, and today they have improved a lot, because I have seen young people today into the entrepreneurship. They are doing what we call all businesses. So, and it means that it is going well. And again, when you looked at it, one example I'm going to give you, when I was allocating the market, when we make our findings, we realized that almost like 40% or 50% of those allocated the subs at that time were young people, because they come to the interview panel, we see them, and we were able to at least encourage. But what happened is, sometimes we can give you the opportunity, but now it depends to you how you utilize those opportunities or how you see the opportunity. If you think that the opportunity is substandard as to your expectation, then, I mean, you don't have anything to do but to go out.
To be specific,
yes.
What types of opportunities, if you can specify?
For example, today, when you look at it, I'm giving you an example. Why is somebody all the way living all the way from Guinea come here within the short spell of time he opens a shop? Many opportunities are here. Opportunities are here. Today, URR is a region that engages in agriculture, and we have the land. The water is coming. Even myself and other people who are now into the civil service are resulting into farming. But for us, what we normally do, we engage in farming just for what we call for subsistence, what we call purpose, and we don't try to commercialize it. Just imagine today, if you should have a farm and you are able to have 10 bags of groundnut, like for example, the last layering season, you see how lucrative what we call the market was. If you are able to have that and you sell it, the next year also you have 10, you sell it. That is a startup for you, you know. And let me also tell you, we have what we call projects in this region. The Giraffe project not long ago was able to give 2 young entrepreneurs as a group. They were given almost very close to $1 million as a grant. And then, you know, they are doing well. We look at it also into the poultry sector and so on. And today, that's why I said the opportunities are there. The projects are coming. The matching grants are coming to a level that is only a matter of just trying to click the button to make an application. But you have to prepare for it. And even those who travel out of this country, it's not everyone who succeeds. There are people who travel now. When they travel after 1 year, they want to come back voluntarily. So all these things are things that I am not saying let nobody go. You know, let us try to use, because when you look at it, if the cream of society is being affected, at the end of the day, what are we expecting? We are going to expect what you call jointed society country, you know, because you have an age what you call vacuum, and if that happens, the most productive society is not available. It's a failed nation. It's a failed state. So these are some of the things that we don't want. But to be frank, I think a lot of things have been done as far as trying to address, but yet still people are adamant.
A young person, I asked to mention some of the dormant institutions or offices in this region. You mentioned agriculture here a lot, and then it's one of the sectors that he mentioned. Not the fact that opportunities are not provided, but what additional opportunities are they providing to support some of these ventures? He mentioned about young people being engrossed in agro production. But what are some of the modern technology being introduced in this region to help them, you know, advance their businesses, such as finding machines that will help them package their products? So he gave me a comparison. When you have your product packaged very well, and you have a package that is actually packaged in a plastic bag that is not well packaged, which one will sell faster? Is the one that is well packaged. And he highlighted that they don't have such opportunities here in your region. How are you going to ensure? It might be something very little to you, but it's affecting their venture. How are you going to ensure that, you know, you solve this particular problem?
You see, let me delve on that point, because even with the packaging aspect of it, I just said it, you know, you cannot be in your house and you think opportunity will find you in your house. It will be difficult. We have a lot of local NGOs in this region. And most of even the organizations outside normally partner with them because they believe that they are NGOs that are closer to the people. And as a result, they are training a lot of young people into agro businesses, and as a result, even into what they call food processing and even packaging. Like, let me give you one example. That is the Tumana Agency for Development, TAC. Just here, a stone throw. It's not far. But the number of trainings that they have conducted, and then the packaging, and even providing what we call bakeries for people so that they can get into, because we know, for example, bread is something that is daily consumed. You know, all these facilities are available in this region. Wallahi lazim, they are here. But again, when you looked at it, how many people know about it? How many people are interested? And some of these things, when they are happening, they use the radios in the region. You know, we have, URR is different with other regions. We are a bit what we call privileged. Because when you look at it, information here spreads very what we call quickly, because we have the institutions in place. The thing that we need to do is, yes, it's part of my plans to make sure that we add some of these things into the region. That is why we are trying to network. And Basse Area Council also is doing a lot in trying to networking to make sure that at least young people, particularly youths and women, are into these businesses so that we move forward. But they also, the other part also need to use the mega facilities that we have in order for them to get in. Because sometimes you see 60 people are trained into this, the following batch, 100 people are trained into this, but you don't see it reflects into the society. So sometimes you tend to ask yourself, what is happening?
What are you doing to ensure that it reflects?
Yeah, that is why we are now it's collective responsibility now, because we are bringing it to your doorstep for you to be trained. Now, and you are trained, you have denied somebody else somewhere to get that opportunity to be trained. I think when you are trained and then you get it and you have what you call a startup kit, that startup kit should be the foundation now for you to go up. These are some of the things. I understand. It's never easy though, because anytime you point the mic to somebody, here's somebody something to say. But to be realistic, things have been done. And it is from there we need to gauge whether if we have more people, because sometimes what is happening is you use resources, you do things, but yet still it is not productive. It's going to be what? It becomes what you call a waste of resource.
So, Governor, you're saying there are many opportunities for young people in your region.
There are opportunities. I am not saying that the opportunities are enough to cover for everybody, but there are a lot of opportunities also. Nobody can also sit and say there are no opportunities. But I know we need to do more. We need to get to the people. We need to talk to the young people. Let them also understand where these opportunities are, because it's also another thing. Because when you have the opportunities and then it is not circulated for people to know that these opportunities are about to come, it becomes this thing. Let me give you one example these days. These days, the number of calls I receive on this job, this thing outside, is too many. Everybody is interested of leaving the country. For example, the Saudi, this thing, the Spain issue, and particularly with Spain. And when actually even it is not yet set, it is not yet done, finalized, but people are so eager. You see, so meaning the concept here, the mentality has to change. And that is where, in fact, we have to do more in the school system. The children have to be prepared at school level, mentally. They have to be prepared to know that these are the realities that we are going to face. And as a result, let's try to start making choice at that early age, so that by the time we move on, all of us, we know how we went through. Sometimes you even see yourself in a position where you never dreamt of being. These things are all things that but honestly, it's gradual. We will get to that point, but it's gradual. But I know lot of things have been done, but a lot of things also ought to be done and improved.
But what do you consider the challenges facing the young people in your region? Something that you've assessed and realized we need to step up and solve.
Sometimes it's difficult to say. You cannot only sometimes sit down and say young people are not doing anything. That becomes an insult. You don't do that. Young people are definitely doing a lot. They are working, they are doing a lot. If I tell you right now, the youth chairperson, regional youth chairperson right now is into business. He has even what you call created something for himself where he's employing people, and he's a youth. So that's why I always see him as a role model, for the young people. Because it means that you can do it here. There were a lot of saying, take a fee. We can do it in this country if we are able to do it. But again, government, civil society organizations, international organizations have to come into play in making sure that we add what we have been given to them. We need to increase. In as much as our population is increasing, we need not to stop at what we have given, but we have also to increase so that we are able to cater for everybody, because everybody here is important to us.
So let's shift to community policing. We've heard from the Regional Police Commissioner, and he highlighted community policing as a milestone for this region. Talk to us, what has been the impact of this initiative?
The impact is very positive. The police alone cannot do it. We all know. Like URR is having registered villages, 367 villages in URR. And when you looked at it, the manpower, as far as police is concerned, maybe less than 100. So if you want to cover all those people, it becomes a problem, coupled with some challenges of mobility. And as a result, it's better for you to engage the community, because in as much as there is a provision to say communities also can make at least a group come together and be a community police where they will be informing the police, quickly and on time in case of anything happens. So I think it is recommended, and then also it is noted, it is laudable. We commend them for that. And then when you look at it also, it is very, very positive. Today, what was happening in URR before, those who know the history of URR, and what is happening today in URR in terms of security, honestly, it has reduced. Though, I always say this, when securities are doing their job, there must be noise in that particular area. That's the time people will, because there must be other people who would not want them to do what they are doing as per the law. But for me, as far as the security is concerned and community policing is concerned, I always keep on encouraging them. If we can have community policing in all the communities in Upper River region, that is going to address a lot of our problems. And as a result, you see the communities themselves will take ownership now of security. Because security is everybody's business. If you see you are going to farm, you are going to the school, you are going on your daily activities, it's because there is security. If there is no security, even GRTS would not be in my office here to do this interview, and which is very important. So as a result, we need not to joke with it. But security cannot go in isolation. That is why the community policing is very, very relevant and is very important. Not long ago, just last week and week before last, the police commissioner himself have been going around communities and even training the community policing, what we call groups that they have. Because also we have to understand, setting up community policing alone is not enough. When you set them also, you have to give them their terms of reference. What are you supposed to do as far as community policing also is concerned? And you see, what people fail to understand in this country, every individual is a police. Even the ordinary citizen walking on the street can arrest an individual as per the law. These are things that people don't know. But if you bring up the community policing, community come together, agree that these are the people that we are going to see as our police officers in our communities, then it's going to complement the effort of the police in the Upper River region. And definitely they are doing extremely well. Today, if I should tell you the number of animals that we are stolen and retrieved now, is just huge. And in fact, the theft in this country, in this region, I'm not saying it's not existing, because it's very difficult to say it has been eradicated completely, but it has reduced. And even to a level, we have even some associations in this that are working closely with the police, like the animal association. Those ones are only there to make sure that any stolen animal, if you report it to them, within a month they will be able to bring back your animal to you, because they have that connection even with Senegal around the border, because knowing the fact that Upper River region is bordered with Senegal on the 3 sides. So if it is vulnerability, we are the most vulnerable region as far as we are concerned. And if you don't have the manpower, then it means that we have to strategize in making sure that at least some of these activities or methods are used in order to cope what we call the problems that is going to affect the people and their property.
They mentioned that this is a joint effort with sister forces, and looking at it, this is a very satisfying breakthrough for you. How are you going to ensure that the police have the resources required to sustain this?
You see, when you talk about resources, it's relative. Resources is always, there is nobody, in fact, in this who will tell you that I've got enough resources.
But the required resources.
That's why I'm coming. That's why I always tell them. When they come, in the TAC meeting even, they said, lack of this, inadequate this, I said, you see, some of these things, you don't expect the central level to do it for us. That's why we are here to collaborate as TAC members. So for the resources, for example, some of the resources that you're talking about is mobility. An example. What is wrong with the police having an engagement and the governor relinquish his vehicles, these office vehicles, for the police to go and do their job? And this is what is happening. But you see, sometimes we are tight to a level, because there are certain resources that you may take from the governor's office and address a security matter, you may be questioned for it.
By who?
Because the problem here is we have to understand that today financial discipline is also existing. And as a result, you are given, for example, my office allocation is given based on item lines. And if the item line that I am supposed to, like security, is not part of it, and you tend to take it and then go and give it out to somebody for them to do, sometimes it involves a lot of explanation. and which becomes sometimes very, very difficult. And sometimes you have to understand you are not the one in that aspect of the resources. You are not the only one who takes decision, because it is a group that takes decision. These are some of the things that normally affect us. If at all, for example, every region will have what we call an emergency fund. That will be, we don't say, let us not have the emergency fund, and let us have the emergency fund and then we waste it. No, the emergency fund should be used in case of any eventualities that may, what we call, arise in the region. But even with that, it becomes a problem. But we are doing our utmost best in trying to make sure that sometimes we liaise with the communities, because there are people well off in communities and they definitely support. Anytime we take our telephones and call them to support, you see they are the ones who normally come to the aid of the security in trying to address some of these problems. But again, I am so glad that today we have what we call an IGP who listens to people. Because not long ago he has sent us a vehicle, and he also promised that he is going to add more as far as URR is concerned, so that every police station that we have in this region is able to have mobility to be able to patrol around their areas. But in terms of resources, we just harness, because we put our efforts together, the resources together, and then we support, particularly this office, because I will not compromise with security. Security is the one, peace is the one that is making us to dispensate our jobs effectively and efficiently. So in the absence of security, in the absence of peace, we cannot do that. So we will not relent in whatever. So for resources, we will continue to mobilize resources in order to make sure that they carry out their activity. But sometimes it is very, very difficult.
Now, Governor, let's shift attention to the recent floods in part of your region. Tell us, what is causing this?
The cause of the flood is because of, one will attribute it, I would say it, to the Fouta Djallon Highland. Because you have to understand that the source is coming from there. And this flood is not only affecting URR now. Senegal is having that same flood. So meaning that corridor is the one that is being affected. Because sometimes we even call where we call Gulumbu in Senegal here, so that we see whether the water is reducing, so that we will also have the signal and have the hope. But this is it. The source is coming from there. Though it's not yearly, sometimes it can go for 2 years, 3 years without experiencing this. I think in 2019 also we experienced such thing. And in fact, that was even more devastating than this one, because where this one stopped and the other one has come up to the market area. So this is so sad. It's a disaster, one would call it, but it's a natural one. It's not made by anybody. And it was good that I myself personally went to see all these areas. I went to the rice fields that are already submerged. And what makes it very, very sad is some of the rice, in fact, have started maturing. That was the time they were all submerged. So at this moment, the rice fields that we have in URR, there is no rice field that somebody can say, I can have what we call a harvest that will keep me for the rest of the season.
Governor,
so
this is a serious issue, and it's not the first time that this is happening. Is this a cause for concern for you? And what steps are you taking in your office to solve this?
It's a cause of concern for my office and even for government, because that is why His Excellency, the President of the Republic, when he was on holiday, he did not only say, I'm on holiday, but he decided to come out of his comfort zone in Mankamang and then try to visit this place and sympathize with the families, because he himself, he knows the terrain of that particular area. But right now, what we are doing, I have already considered, because we have the disaster management committee in URR, and when this started happening, it found me in China. I was not in the country, but I had to at least send a message here to make sure that at least let them respond quickly. And by taking what we call the data, they collected the data of affected areas. Because today, when you look at it, almost around the riverside, all subs are inundated, all of them. So it means that they are not functioning. So now assessment is taking place. Then the preliminary reports are out, but we want them to go into what we call detailed assessment now. And after the detailed assessment, then we will now try to share. Because, you know, it's difficult for you to intervene when you don't get the documents first. You have to get the data to tell you that this is what is happening. And you know, also in the assessment, it is also ongoing. It's a process. because sometimes you assess here today, the next moment you see the problem is solved in that area, but it may also spark problems in another area. But already, honestly, the assessment is ongoing, and we have gone very far in the assessment. What we are now doing in collaboration with NDMA and the government of the Gambia is to make sure that at least we see how best we can share, because if the data is available, you can share it to the international partners and for other people in making sure that we address this problem. But the greater part of it also we have to understand is climate change. You know, climate change is real, and what we need to do is we need to protect our environment by growing more trees, and at the same time also let us start to squat on waterways and water-prone areas. Because when you looked at it around the areas of the river, you will realize that some years ago, people were not settling there. In fact, the market was divided into two: a dry market that was only meant for the dry season. In the rainy season, because they know that area is going to be submerged by water, they move and go to other areas. But now it is that dry market that people occupy. So these are some of the, you know, we have a lot of challenges. People, you tell them don't settle here, they will settle. And today when you go to those particular areas, this is it. And now we are also looking at the health implication, because already I told my director of health that we need to prepare ourselves and start getting to compound by compound around that area, because some people stay there, they are kids, children, and we looked at it, because if the water is stagnant to a level that it may develop scent, and we may even end up having what we call an outbreak of something, which we don't want to happen. So it means that right now we are on the alert, and then all institutions are put to task in making sure that we do this. We are able to get back to at least us. That's why immediately after the presidential tour, because right now we are also having a lot of activities, I want to make sure that at least the institution that I have already taxed, let them report back to us. But we are expecting that it may also go down soon, because sometimes within 30 minutes, you go to this place, you will not see it. So that's why it is very, very natural. So, but we are doing our utmost best in making sure that at least the people affected are assisted.
Governor, let's talk about education. During the engagement, some communities highlighted challenges that their children are encountering, such as water scarcity and, of course, the lack of chairs for the students. How are you collaborating with the relevant stakeholders to address these issues?
You know, we are collaborating, but sometimes I think what is happening is communities are not giving the right information. You know, if you do, as I said earlier, if you don't get the right information, you may give your own verdict of the story. And exactly this is what normally happens in communities. Like most of the time, when you go to schools and you find children sitting on mat, it's not that they don't have chairs. It's because look at the level of children in that particular class. Now there is a system in this country where all nursery school level 1 to level 3, because they are less than 7 years, you don't expect them to think like somebody 12 years. You don't expect them to think like somebody who is 18 years or 21 years in the senior secondary school. That is why they are given like the marks. That's why yesterday, if you can recall, the director of education was able to come out to say this is a policy at their level, because we are trying to make sure that we address the problems between children. Because those children, sometimes you see you sit on chairs or on the tabletop, they normally push you, and then you fall down, you have a broken hand or whatsoever. These people have been seen in the school system. Because of that, now they decided to put these children down. The other thing also that is happening in the school system is we were the ones advocating for people to take their children to school. And now the number of children in the schools have swelled up, particularly with regards to the girl child. That's why even when you come to URL, the number of girls in the schools, particularly in the lower basic school, is far more than the number of boys in the lower basic. Because now the message that the Ministry of Education and the government have been giving to the people is being answered. So that's why we are having it. So as a result, anywhere you have what we call furniture problem, understand that the school is going to operate. Because we have two things. You either have furniture problem or you have what we call teacher problem. And where you have these two, you always operate on what? On double shift. That's why when you looked at it, in any beginning of an academic year, I must make sure that I visit, because I cannot go to all schools, coupled with my work, but I do what we call random sampling, and then I visit some schools with the director. Some of this visiting, in fact, is unannounced, so that I will be able to get what we call information. And I also told communities, anybody who have a problem in the school, let me be called. Director knows. Sometimes I just call him, I say, come to the office. Are you aware of this and this and this is happening in X, Y, and Z school? He said, no. I said, now go and do this and this is what is happening there. So, but these are some of the things. But let me tell you one thing. I am quite sure, and today, that the number of schools that have been constructed in Upper River region and the number of schools that have been upgraded from lower basic school to upper basic school to senior secondary school is phenomenal. And all that is because of the government of the Gambia and MRC Holland's what you call foundation. Today, almost all our schools are having what you call story buildings. All of them, with the schools of Banjul, what they are having is the schools that in fact, our schools today are more well be constructed than even those schools. So meaning our children will not say we are put aside as far as education is concerned. But these are some of the things. With regards to water, yes, that's true. Because when you looked at it, there are certain problems that we may also encounter. And that's why I told the communities. Government can dig wells for people, boreholes for people. But you don't also expect government to maintain it. The maintenance of it lies in the hands of the community. And these are some of the things problems that we face at regional level. Now, government will construct a borehole for you, dig a borehole for you, do everything for you. But yet still, even if there is a problem of $10, you call the governor and say our borehole has a problem. We need to collaborate, and the responsibility has to be shared. We have to take one part of the responsibility, but they also have to take one part of it. Because if you think it's a public property and it belongs to nobody, then it's the children who will come and spoil it. And this is exactly what happened. People don't care in the communities. I know there are people who are taking good history of their communities. I have seen communities where what we call the mothers club, even the what we call the VDCs, are controlled what we call by women who are taking good care of their schools. Just what we call last week, I had a meeting here with the SMT of Kobakunda, with the director. I summoned all of them here because we were trying to address a problem in Kobakunda. You see, also we are having problem in the education system. I cannot groom my children. I work for them as a teacher. From grade 7 up to grade 9, they are able to produce aggregate 6, aggregate 7, aggregate 8. And there is a senior secondary school in that particular premises. I allow them to go to another school when I'm the one who developed them. I also want to get the 9 credits in my school. And these are some of the things that are happening. So sometimes we are faced with certain challenges. That was why I had a meeting with Kobakunda, because that is the only government senior secondary school within Basse. I'm not saying in URA, within Basse here. Because all the other schools are either mission schools. Yes, they are all mission schools. So that is it. But one part is our responsibility as a government and a Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, but the other part is the community.
Very well. Governor, I would have loved for us to explore this deeper, but I've been signaled that we've exhausted the time allocated for this episode. Thank you very much for joining us, Governor.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was the Governor of the Upper River region, Mr. Samba Bah. It's the OGI coming to you from the Gambia Radio and Television Services with me, Aminata E. Sanyang. Until we come your way in the next episode. Bye-bye.